I believe that we have to go to a non-negotiated price, totally online, transparent, 100% pickup and delivery model.
Ford has thrown the automotive industry into chaos with its recent announcement about closing its dealerships. This move is deeply rooted in challenging facts that mirror bigger storms brewing in the auto industry and Ford's particular battleground. The winds of change in consumer interests and technological advances have caught Ford on a back foot, leading to a crossroads decision that isn't just about buildings with cars in them. It's about survival and redefinition. But what's really going on? Ford's bold gamble in the electric vehicle landscape. Ford is making a bold move with its sweeping plans to shutter a significant portion of its dealership network, marking it not just as a simple operational adjustment, but as a grand gesture of strategic reinvention in a highly volatile market. This move isn't merely about shutting down locations, it's about opening new avenues for opportunity and innovation. Picture this: around 1,000 Ford dealerships across the United States are set to close. That's right, 1,000 dealership closures. Now the question is, what's really driving Ford to make this decision? Well, there are three main reasons for Ford's bold decisions. Let me break it down to you. Sales decline. Ford pulling the plug on its dealerships isn't just a headline, it's the opening chapter of a saga that goes deeper and twists harder than anyone could have imagined. This isn't just business as usual, it's a deep dive into a shifting landscape. The plunge in Ford vehicle sales, particularly their trucks, isn't merely a bump in the road, it's more like an earthquake, shaking the foundations of how these dealerships operate and survive. Ford has long been a towering figure in the automotive industry, with their legendary F-150 standing as a symbol of power and reliability. But guess what? The plot thickens and the stakes rise as competitors like Chevy and GMC gear up with fierce determination. They've not only joined the race, but are speeding ahead, leaving Ford struggling to keep up. What's unraveling is more than just a battle between brands. It's a sweeping transformation in what consumers want, and Ford finds itself at a crossroads, grappling with these shifting demands. It's as though an unseen force has turned the tide, and Ford's once dominant market share is starting to shrink in an arena that's both cutthroat and immensely profitable. But it's not just about sales numbers, it's about survival, and it's getting bleaker by the minute for their dealerships. As vehicles move off lots at a slower pace, the repercussions are devastating. For these dealerships, every unsold car spells trouble, hammering down hard on the bottom line. Imagine sales numbers plummeting, dragging dealerships into financial chaos, marking not just weeks of lost revenue, but months of nail-biting anxiety about staying afloat. Let's take a walk down memory lane. Many of these Ford dealerships, the ones facing the axe today, were born in an era when Ford was selling cars like hotcakes. The bustling landscapes back then were filled with dealerships that effortlessly served eager buyers clamoring for the latest models. Fast forward to now, and you see a starkly different scene. The automotive sector today is like a wild beast that's constantly evolving, and what worked like a charm back then is now like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. The dealership network as it stands is frankly a relic from a bygone era, struggling to make sense amidst today's subdued sales numbers and fierce market forces that have reshaped the playing field entirely. But hold on, because there's more underneath the hood. Enter the emotional tug of war between buyers and the brand. Consumer sentiment, more volatile than ever, paints a rather grim picture. Pricing strategies and lackluster features are leaving potential buyers, the ones who should be flocking to Ford eagerly, feeling let down and disappointed. It isn't just about sticker shock or gadget envy. It's that nagging feeling of getting less bang for their buck. As they look for alternatives, they're finding competitors more in sync with their expectations. This consumer defection is like a double-edged sword for dealerships, ruthlessly slashing not just the sales of glittering new rides, but also draining the lifeblood from service and parts departments that once thrived on consistent footfall and loyal customer visits. Market saturation. Market saturation in the automotive industry is like a ticking time bomb, particularly for Ford dealerships trying to navigate this complex maze. When you break it down using metrics like dealership numbers relative to sales volume and market share, the picture becomes even clearer. But how did we get here? Let's dive into the numbers and uncover something that resembles a mystery novel, complete with plot twists and turns. Imagine this: Ford, in what seems like a massive fleet, boasts around 3,000 dealerships sprawling across the United States. months. Built over years of consistent growth, these brick-and-mortar icons have long stood as testaments to Ford's empire. But now, under the unforgiving lens of today's market forces, it's apparent this sheer size might be an overkill. Let's put this into perspective. In 2023, Ford rolled out about 1.8 million vehicles into the US market. Now, break that down across this vast network of dealerships, and you end up with an average of roughly 600 vehicles per dealership each year. Does that sound enough to keep the lights on and employees bustling? For many, it's a precarious balancing act. Imagine being in a locale saturated with multiple Ford venues. You get the picture. Profit margins are not just tight, they're razor thin. The competition isn't just around the corner, it's at the doorstep. Now, let's talk market share, because this tells the real tale of struggle and strategy. Ford's grip on the US truck segment has loosened to about 16%, quite a drop from the commanding 30% they enjoyed a decade ago. This isn't just numbers, it's a testament to the battle that Ford is up against. Brands like Chevy and GMC, with their relentless quest for dominance, are not just competitors, they're conquerors in the truck market arena. With Chevy holding approximately 20% market share, the stakes are as high as ever. It's not just about battling old foes. New challengers are sprinting into the scene, especially with the rise of electric vehicles, adding another layer of complexity. Let's take a look at dealerships' performance. Some Ford dealerships have reported sales nosedives ranging between 30 to 40% year over year. Let that sink in for a moment. The culprit, changing consumer preferences, and a marketplace swelling with rivalry. It's not just a challenge, it's a full-blown crisis to sustain viability under such conditions. And if you think that's the end, think again. Beyond mere sales, a seismic shift in consumer preference is unfolding. A survey from automotive research firms reveals that nearly 70% of consumers are eyeing electric vehicles as their next big purchase. This isn't just a trend, it's a revolution. Traditional internal combustion engine vehicles that have defined dealerships are now facing a future that could very well be electric. And Ford is grappling with tons of challenges in the electric vehicle market, a sector that's turning out to be more of a minefield than a stroll down an easy street. Unlike the smooth rides they aspire to build, the road to electric vehicle dominance is fraught with obstacles, even for an automotive giant like Ford. So what exactly is tripping them up? The electric vehicle showdown. First up, let's talk dollars and cents. Ford's Model E division, the powerhouse behind their electric vehicle efforts, is bleeding money. We're looking at jaw-dropping losses totaling $4.7 billion in 2023 alone, compounded by another $2.5 billion just in the first half of 2024. Ouch. These financial black holes are primarily a result of sky-high development costs combined with sales numbers that are more of a drizzle than the forecasted shower. Then there's the elephant in the room, sales that ought to roar but are more akin to a whimper. Sure, Ford clocked in an 86% year-over-year increase by moving 20,223 electric vehicles in the first quarter of 2024, but hold the applause. It's a drop in the ocean compared to the figures churning out from competitors' factories, namely Tesla. The overall revenue from Ford's electric vehicle segment tumbled by a significant 37% in one quarter, thanks to dwindling sales numbers and relentless pricing pressures. It's not just an internal struggle. Ford's facing formidable foes from all corners of the earth. There's increasing competition, not just from the seasoned players, but from rising stars, particularly those hailing from China, bringing not just fierce pricing, but cutting-edge technology. These rivals are not just playing to win, they're rewriting the rules of the game, putting Ford in a strategic chokehold. In light of these mounting challenges, Ford is pressing pause, or outright canceling some of its upcoming electric vehicle models, including what could have been showstopper releases, like a 3-row electric SUV and a hefty electric truck. The spotlight is now shifting more towards hybrid solutions and commercial vehicles, perhaps a pragmatic nod to the harsh reality that making a profit in the electric vehicle sector is no cakewalk. Amidst this shuffle, Ford is also laying out a more cautious financial blueprint. It announced a scaling back of annual capital commitments for pure electric vehicles from 40% to a more reserved 30%. This is no mere number game. It's a reflection of a broader calm after the storm strategic recalibration as Ford reassesses its route in a fiercely competitive landscape. And this is not good news for Ford dealerships that are already finding it hard to sell the traditional internal combustion engine vehicles. And this financial challenge of the dealership leads to the third reason: local market. Local market conditions are often the unsung heroes or villains in these tales of closure, exerting a powerful and sometimes unseen influence over a dealership's fate. These closures aren't just random, they're the result of a fascinating interplay of economic developments across different regions and personal choices made by the owners themselves. Let's dive into the specifics of these factors and uncover how they silently guide the dealerships towards their curtain call. Economic factors can hit individual dealerships like an unexpected storm, often defined by their geographical setting. Picture this: a dealership nestled in an area that once thrived is now grappling with an economic slump. Economic downturns can be brutal. On top of that, local demographics are constantly on the move like an ever-changing landscape, and shifts in consumer preferences become a merciless tide. If a dealership is located in a region where the population is dwindling or where the economic pulse is weakening, maintaining profitability becomes not just hard, it becomes a precarious tightrope walk. The risk of shutting down looms large, and sometimes it becomes the only feasible option, leaving a town with yet another for sale sign. But there's another layer to this story: the personal decisions made by dealership owners. It's not just economic wins steering the ship. Sometimes it's about personal crossroads. Owners hold a lot of power in this narrative. Some may choose to retire with dreams beyond the dealership lot gleaming bright. Others might decide to sell their franchise back to Ford instead of passing the torch to another dealer. It's about life plans intersecting with business realities. Perhaps personal financial considerations weigh in, or maybe there's simply a desire to break free from the automotive world entirely and explore what's next. But how did Ford end up here? Well, let me explain. Root cause. Let's start with the recall itself, an issue that's more than just a factory blip. Approximately 990,000 vehicles are being called back, all thanks to a pesky downshifting problem tied to Ford's 2.7 liters and 3 liters EcoBoost engines. This isn't just an annoyance. This could spell disaster for drivers out there relying on these machines every day. Imagine your car suddenly having a catastrophic breakdown. We're talking intake valves cracking, bits falling into the combustion chamber, and engines taking a nosedive. The damage from all this? It could set consumers back anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 in repair costs. Ouch, that's a hefty price to pay for something that's supposed to be a reliable ride. Now, onto the consumer impact. It's not just about the car, it's about peace of mind, or lack thereof. This recall is a punch to the gut for vehicle performance, yes, but even more, it drags Ford's reputation through the mud. When potential engine failures loom over every drive, worry grips the steering wheel alongside owners. This recall isn't just about cars, it causes a real dent in consumer trust, and trust is everything. The last thing any consumer wants is to pour a significant sum into a new vehicle only to find themselves footing the bill for unforeseen failures. The anxiety and frustration don't just affect individual experiences, they ripple out, shaking confidence in the Ford brand at large. As we peel back these layers, it becomes clear that these are not isolated issues. The implications are vast, potentially reshaping buyer behavior and preferences in the long run. People used to flock to Ford for reliability, and when that promise falters, it leaves room for competitors to swoop in. It challenges more than sales figures. It challenges the very essence of the Ford promise: consumers' preference. Picture this: you walk into a dealership, eyes set on a Ford F-150 deck, ready to drive home your dream truck. But there's a catch: a sticker shock. It's priced as high as $78,000. That's right, 78 grand for a shiny new truck that may not even hit the mark on reliability. Consumers everywhere are shaking their heads, feeling the sting of price tags that just don't seem to add up to the value they're getting. And it's not just about the initial blow to the wallet. Recent recalls and swirling doubts about quality have left buyers wondering if they're shelling out premium dollars for vehicles that might not measure up. The scales of satisfaction are tipping, and not in Ford's favor. Now, let's talk about tech. Modern rides are packed with features galore, but instead of cruising with ease, many consumers find themselves in a digital maze. Advanced technologies are intended to enhance the driving experience, but more often they throw a wrench in the works. Instead of a smooth journey, drivers are left wrestling with gadgets that seem to require a master's degree just to operate. When tech goes south, or when instructions read like a foreign language, frustration quickly follows. What should have been an exhilarating experience becomes a headache, and dissatisfaction takes the wheel. Meanwhile, a quiet revolution is unfolding. Data now paints a compelling picture of shifting loyalties. Consumers are slowly gravitating towards competitors like Chevy and GMC in stronger numbers. Chevy trucks, for instance, have achieved a solid grip, capturing about 20% of the market share. Compare that to Ford's slipping hold, which now hovers at around 16%. This change isn't just a blip on the radar, it's a seismic shift that mirrors how buyers are prioritizing value, reliability, and pricing more than ever before. 2024. How are the consumers changing loyalties? Let's talk about how its rivals stack up against Ford. Chevrolet. Amid the fierce rivalry between automotive titans Ford and Chevrolet, something incredible is happening. Chevrolet, a name synonymous with American cars, is taking noteworthy strides in the ever-competitive truck segment, with Chevrolet experiencing a remarkable 16% bump in total sales within just the first quarter of 2023. The numbers speak volumes, reaching an astonishing 398,141 units sold. For the first time in over 10 years, Chevy has leapfrogged Ford in retail registration. This isn't just a fluke, it's indicative of a shift where consumers are opening their eyes to Chevrolet's enticing promise of value paired with reliability. What's Chevrolet's secret sauce? A strategy that revolves around delivering a diverse array of vehicles designed to fit every lifestyle and need imaginable. This isn't just about stools and slippers. Chevy is marrying traditional models with the latest tech. Their electric marvels, the Bolt electric vehicle and the Bolt EUV, have found favor with eco-conscious drivers, all while maintaining strong sales of the familiar gasoline-powered vehicles. This level of adaptability allows Chevrolet to resonate with an expansive audience, quickly responding to fluctuating market demands and consumer desires. On the flip side, Ford is stumbling a bit in its electric vehicle journey, with financial setbacks casting shadows over its ambitious plans. As shoppers increasingly gravitate towards new, trustworthy, and innovative offerings, Chevrolet's comprehensive collection of products shines brighter against a backdrop of competitors fighting the same battles. Chevrolet doesn't just keep prices competitive, they excel at it, offering vehicles delivering quality and performance without the sticker shock. While truck prices keep climbing across the board, Chevy shines as a beacon of value, perfect for today's careful consumer, mindful of every dollar spent. This has grown increasingly important in today's economic climate, where purchase decisions weigh more heavily on the scales of value. Taking stock of Chevrolet's recent accomplishments, one sees a strategic narrative that thrives on innovation, prioritizing customer happiness and agile agility to address market shifts. Chevrolet isn't merely staying in the race, it's accelerating towards becoming an industry leader, gaining speed against Ford in both sales and market share sectors. As the winds of change sweep through the industry, driven by shifting consumer tastes and a pivot towards electric vehicles, Chevrolet stands poised for continual growth with a proactive posture for future success. GM. Imagine a world where the roar of a traditional engine is a distant memory. This is the future General Motors is not just hoping for, but actively creating. With an audacious plan in motion, GM is entirely reshaping its business model to pivot towards electric vehicles. By the year 2035, GM aims to offer nothing but electric vehicles, saying goodbye to internal combustion engines for good. It's not just talk, it's backed by serious investments. Over $35 billion pledged towards electric vehicle development up until 2025. This isn't about dipping a toe in the waters of change. GM is jumping in head first, launching a wide array of new models designed to cater to every type of consumer out there. The Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicle has already paved the way for GM's electric vehicle success story, setting the stage for a dramatic expansion of their electric portfolio in the years to come. But GM's strategy isn't just electrifying cars, it's pioneering sustainability on a grand scale. The company seeks to build an ecosystem that extends far beyond electric vehicles themselves, embracing renewable energy for their charging infrastructure. It's a comprehensive approach that aims to make GM synonymous with sustainable transportation. They're not just playing the game, they're aiming to reinvent it from the ground up. In the arena of product differentiation, GM draws upon its deep well of automotive expertise to craft vehicles where performance meets cutting-edge technology. They're pushing the boundaries by upgrading infotainment systems and enhancing safety features. Their goal, to grab the attention of tech-savvy consumers who crave connectivity and convenience in their daily drive. A high-octane battle is underway between Ford and GM, with the competition heating up as both giants push to innovate within the electric vehicle market. As each company rolls out new electric models with the intent to captivate consumer interest, they face several hurdles. Pricing, range anxiety, and the crucial bottleneck of charging infrastructure are all challenges these automakers grapple with, issues historically putting brakes on faster electric vehicle adoption. As if that weren't enough, Ford and GM are also squaring off against a different kind of rival. New players, particularly startups that live and breathe electric vehicles, enter the ring with fresh perspectives and nimble innovations. This fierce competition acts as a catalyst, forcing GM and Ford to strategize, adapt, and invest continuously to maintain their foothold in a market that's as dynamic as it is unpredictable. The road to redemption. To claw its way back to the forefront and reclaim its competitive spirit, Ford needs to embark on a bold, multifaceted strategy, one that tackles the intricate challenges of the electric vehicle arena while cleverly playing to the brand's inherent strengths. This isn't just a race, it's a marathon with strategic pit stops along the way. Let's dive into a series of strategic recommendations that are both grounded in recent market shifts and inspired by the dynamic forces shaping the industry landscape. First up, let's talk about hybrids. Ford has already gotten the memo on the rising tide of consumer love for hybrids. These vehicles strike a sweet balance between trusty internal combustion engines and the shiny promise of full electric. Ford's game plan here? Expand the hybrid lineup. Target those budget-savvy buyers hesitating on a full leap into electric, often held back by worries over range and charging hoops to jump. This strategic shift isn't just timely, it aligns perfectly with where the market pulse is beating. It ensures Ford holds its ground in the bustling electric vehicle space without diving headfirst into a sea of pure electric just yet. Next in the lineup is affordability and pure, unadulterated value. As wallets tighten and spending becomes more discerning, Ford should have affordability at the forefront of its vehicle offerings. Cut down the initial price hurdle for electric vehicles and spotlight operating cost savings like maintenance cuts and fuel efficiency. The magic lies in refining battery procurement and enhancing manufacturing processes to trim those production costs. The result? Savings that dance right into consumers' wallets. Keeping things budget-friendly is a masterstroke for pulling in a wider set of customers and standing shoulder to shoulder against strong rivals like Chevrolet and new contenders from China. Now on to streamlining product development. Ford's foresight to realign its product roadmap is a savvy move, but it could further sharpen its edge by perfecting the development process itself. Create dedicated teams laser-focused on innovative vehicle design and cost trims. This boosts Ford's game, speeding up the rollout of fresh models without skimping on quality. By subscribing to a systems integration mindset, Ford can foster a symphony of collaboration across design, engineering, supply chain, and production lines, culminating in a quicker dash to market with every new vehicle offering. Another piece of the puzzle lies in bolstering charging infrastructure partnerships. The dread of charging deserts can be a deal breaker for potential electric vehicle buyers. Ford can outsmart this by teaming up with charging network moguls like Electrify America or investing in its own infrastructure. This enhances the Ford ownership journey, making it more seamless for electric vehicle enthusiasts. Plus, hammering home the ease of residential charging setups can calm range anxieties, making the idea of clicking purchase on a new Ford electric vehicle a no-brainer. Marketing and consumer education is a linchpin. As Ford maneuvers towards hybrids and wallet-friendly electric vehicles, the messaging should be spot on. An impactful marketing blitz needs to champion the perks of hybrid tech, savings on the dime, and the planet-loving choice of hopping into a Ford. It's about overhauling public perception. Equipping the audience with knowledge on how hybrid models sway heavily over traditional wheels is crucial in revving up sales numbers. Finally, let's zoom in on commercial vehicle prospects. Ford's enduring dominion in the commercial vehicle sector is an ace in the sleeve, a ripe opportunity for growth in the electric vehicle stratosphere. Building electric vans and trucks tailor-made for business needs means cashing in on the fleet demand for cleaner, greener transport solutions. It's about harmonizing environmental aspirations with commerce and solidifying Ford's stand as a forebear in electrifying business fleets. We want to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about Ford's strategies and the future of electric vehicles? Share your insights in the comments below.